Hey guys, so today I'm making my first Q&A video. I asked on YouTube, Instagram, and Crafty Amino for questions from you guys, and I have them right here on my iPad. So I wrote them all down, and I wrote your usernames down, and yeah, I'm going to try and answer them as best as I can, and I hope this isn't a really boring video. This might be a two-part video though, because I did get a lot of questions on Crafty, which means that, yeah, I will probably have to divide this in two, but anyways, if I do that, this will be part one. So, I'm going to start with the Crafty Amino questions, because there are a lot more that I got there. So, the first three questions are from Hello Bear, and the first question is, how long have you been crafting for? I started crafting, I think it was around September, October of 2014. Like, for real, so to speak. So that's when I really started crafting with polymer clay, and when I was like, I really want to do this and see where it goes. The second question is, what is the best or worst thing you bought for crafting? Sorry. So I don't really recall anything specific, but it always gets on my nerves when something gets rusty or really discolored, like shortly after you buy it, or if there's just some really like evident marks on it, like that you can really see. That's happened to me before, but yeah, I don't recall anything specific that I bought and then I was like, oh, why did I buy this? So yeah. Do you have a favorite charm? If so, what is it? I don't really. I have a few favorite charms that I've done over this period of time. There's another question sort of like that, and I will show some of my favorite charms that I've done sort of lately. But yeah, that's the answer to that. Now this question is from Kira.L, I think, .hh. Also from Crafty Amino. All of these are from Crafty Amino, and she asks if I have any pets, and I don't. The last pets I had were fish. I have 5 fish, and they were all named, although, yeah, you don't really need to know the names. So they had a meaning back then, but not right now. But they're all dead now, although they lasted quite a few years. And that's the extent of my pet owning skills. So the next questions are from Clay Corner Creations, and I always assume it's a she, so sorry if it's not. She asks, where do you craft? So I craft on my desk in my bedroom, so it's my regular desk where I do whatever I need to do. So yeah, not the cleanest of places, but it serves its purpose. Do you have a craft buddy, a pet, or something? Again, I don't. Or have anything like that. I've never even heard of a craft buddy. Maybe it's a thing with some people, not with me. What crafting item can you not live without? I can't live without either a blade or a dotting tool, because they just really help you in the most basic of basics. So yeah, either a blade or a dotting tool, I'd say. Next question is from Flare Design 856. And she asks, what is your favorite type of craft? And for me, right now, it's polymer clay. Just because it's probably the simplest to do, to make whatever. So of the ones that I get into, I'd say polymer clay. Graceful Creations asks, who is your biggest inspiration? So my biggest inspiration right now, or I mean, since I started, and I don't really go look for new people, I guess, unless I see a lot of people talk about someone new that I haven't heard about and I go and check out their work. But anyways, my biggest inspirations are Creative Raichi. So she does a lot of kawaii things and I really love what she does. I love the way she uses color and pastel colors in general, so I really love her. XOX Rufus as well, I really love her. And so they're more on the like kawaii front, but I also really love the realistic food part of the polymer clay crafting community. So Two of the people that inspire me the most on that front are Andrea, and Disa Charms, which you probably know of. She has a really cool YouTube account full of pretty realistic food charms, and I've bought stuff from her. You can see that video on my channel. I've reviewed her charms. They were amazing. I will link that down below, by the way. And I'm also really inspired by Sugar Charm Shop because she is just amazing at doing a realistic food. So, the next question by Graceful Creations is, why did you start polymer clay and resin? So polymer clay I started, it was actually not through polymer clay crafters, so to speak. It was in 2014, yeah, like end of summer, I discovered Decoden for I don't know what reason. I don't know how I found it, but I found Decoden, and then I saw that some people had what looked like polymer clay cabochons, and I thought, oh wow, I have some of that here at home because I once bought it like many years ago. I saw a jewelry kit from Fimo, and I bought it, but I could never actually burned everything I did. So I never tried it again, and I just kept it here in the house. So what I did was I went and picked that up, and I tried my hand at polymer clay after many years, and I actually really liked what I made, which were just two super awful cookies. But yeah, so I made those, and I really wished to start doing it, like making a lot of things, so that's how I started. So it all came from Decoden, and watching YouTube videos after discovering polymer clay and that it was like a thing. Is anyone else in your family crafty? So my mom does a lot of like cross stitch and just crochet and all of that stuff, like sewing, and so yeah, she's really crafty, and my dad's crafty too, but like in other ways, I don't know. He's just good with like making things with his hands. So yeah. How long have you been crafting? So, okay, so I already answered that, and that was around October of 2014. Now, Craft Teresa asks me, do you normally experience a crafter's block? I do actually, and lately a lot more. I think when I started, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make all the things. And now that I've made all the things, I need to come up with new things. So I get a lot of inspiration from looking in my Instagram feed and going on YouTube, watching videos. But yeah, so I need to think a lot more in order to create now, instead of just thinking, oh, let's make a donut or whatever. Yeah, but I've made loads of donuts now, so it's not as new. So I need to think a bit more before I create. Is your craft space messy? Yeah, like I said, it's my regular desk on my bedroom, which is actually pretty full of things. It also has my printer on it and stuff, all my pens, like stationery, so it is kind of messy, but when I craft, which is not all the time, I do have that space where that's where I'm gonna work, and that's it. And so it's a pretty well-defined space within my desk, so I'm pretty okay with that. You know, the messiness is like outside of that. And how much time in your day do you devote to crafting? So like I just mentioned, I actually do not craft all the time. Right now I'm crafting one weekend a month, which might seem like it's not much, but for someone who is having creators block and similar, it's actually a good thing to not craft all the time, because then you will feel like you don't have as many ideas, and you'll feel even more desperate to have them. So if you just craft like not as regularly, it's actually better, because then when you do craft, you've gathered a bunch of ideas together, and you'll do all of those, and you'll be pretty happy. And that's what I do, and I do feel pretty happy with what I make lately. So yeah. So Knee Blossom asks, what crafts do you specialize in? So I specialize right now, and this has to do with what I sell as well. So it's 3 things, and it's polymer clay, resin, although I don't sell resin pieces because they're not very good yet, I think. and they do take a lot of effort and time and money. So right now I wouldn't sell resin, but yeah, polymer clay resin and just the friendship bracelets. So macrame, that's kind of the same thing, but yeah, the friendship bracelets I really love doing as well. So those are the 3 crafts that I specialize in. What are 3 types of crafts, of arts and crafts that you would like to try? So I would love to try cross-stitching. I've done it before when I was little, actually, because my mom used to do it all the time. So I would do little things as well. But I would like to do something more complicated with the right colors, because my mom always had thread in the house, so I never really got like the correct colors for things, so I would just use what we had in the house. So my things were never really that pretty, but they were nicely done, I must say. I would also love to try shrink plastic. I've watched YouTube videos on it. I would really love to try it, but yeah, I've never seen it sold here at a store, so I just really have to look a little bit further than that, maybe. I've seen it online a lot, but it gets pricier to buy it online, so I'm just gonna have to wait a little bit more. I would also like to try crochet, so the little figures that everyone seems to make nowadays, I would also like to try that, but it seems so complicated and I'm not very good at it, so I would like to try it, but I probably won't. What is one tool you can live without? So I already answered that one. Ingrid's Creations asked me the same question, when did you start with polymer clay? So I already answered that one too. Tokai Chun, I think that's how you pronounce that, sorry if it's not. Do you have any pet peeves when crafting? If so, what are they? So when working with polymer clay, it's really the dust that gets in your charms. It's horrible. So that's my biggest pet peeve there. And when I'm doing friendship bracelets, it is when I notice that I did a step wrong, like 10 knots before the one I'm at, and I have to undo everything so that I can redo it in the correct way again. So that is really annoying and I hate when that happens. So yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve when crafting, those 2. So the Kawaii Puff asks, do you have any pets or siblings? I do not have pets and I don't have siblings either, so I'm an only child. What is your favorite clay brand? My favorite clay brand, in terms of softness and consistency and how they get to me at least, so it is Primo actually, which isn't sold in Portugal, which is where I live. So actually the brand that I use the most is Fimo, because that's the one I have access to where I live. But I get Primo from Spain. I have a couple of websites that I order from, so they have Primo, and that's where I've ordered it from, and it is so soft and so good to work with. So I really, really love it, but I don't always get it, although it is a bit cheaper as well, but yeah, it's just not as easy to get, but that's my favorite brand. What's your favorite color? So my favorite color, it's 2 or 3, like in general, I just really love blue and pink. Maybe specific shades, but you know, just blue and pink. And I'm also really into mint green right now. Ever since last year, I think, when it was really trendy, I still really love it. So yeah. Unicorns asks me, what is your favorite store? Well, I think she means a craft store, which I don't really have here, like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever you guys have where you live, like in the US or the UK. So I don't really have a favorite store of that kind anyway, which is what I think she meant. So yeah, sorry, your question was good, but there aren't really any craft stores here. So Lore Art asks me how old I am, and I am 24 years old. My favorite TV show. So these are more personal questions, and favorite TV show, I watch so many of them. I watch like 20, maybe close to 20 TV shows a week, so I usually have close to 20 episodes of TV shows to watch every week, but I really, really love watching TV shows. So I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget, but my favorites, Well, I have one that's over, well, two are over already, but Dexter, I loved watching Dexter. When I first saw it once, it was on TV and I was like, oh, I don't really like this. And then sometime later, I watched it again from the beginning and I just absolutely loved it. So I've watched the entire show 2 or 3 times, which is something I do not do ever. Because I get really bored since I already know what's going to go on in the rest of the whole show. So yeah. I also really love Suits. I really love that show. It's in its hiatus right now, so it's coming back in June. I love Top Gear, I love Cars, and that's another show I really hated, or just because I hadn't really given it a chance, but whenever I switched channels and it was on, I was like, ugh, this looks so, I don't I don't want to watch it. And then once I actually did watch it and I thought it was so fun, and it has cars in it, so you know, how could I hate it? And I really love Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you know. Andy Samberg is such a good actor and comedian, and I just really love that show. All of the characters, everyone is so funny. The show is just a must-watch. Then her last question is my favorite book. So I don't really have a favorite book. I read a lot, like an average of 100 books a year, so it's really hard for me to choose. But I read a lot of romance books, like adultier romance books, if you know what I mean. So I have a few favorites of those, but I really hate sharing because I just know that sometimes you get some hate for that. So not that I really care, but I also kind of do. So, you know, I think you know what I mean. And that means that, yeah, just a lot of romance novels. And the last question I have from Crafty Amino is from Pastel Macaron, and it is, what inspired you to start crafting? And it was, I think, yeah, I already answered this one. So I started with seeing what Decoden was, to all the way to people making their own cabochons, and then discovering the whole community, and that's what made me want to start doing polymer clay. So this is it for part 1 of this Q&A video. These were all the questions I got from the Crafty Amino app, from everyone that put questions on my posts. So I really hope you enjoyed this. I think I will wait a whole week for the second part to go on. If not, I will let you know. And you will see it on your feed. But anyways, I hope you like this first part and don't miss the second one. Bye!